Thank you. I got 5 minutes, so the first 10 seconds, I tell you, chapter 11 in our study gives you a history of most of the countries in the Middle East from the, sometimes starting in the 1860s till today, and so I won't touch this. The main problem seems to be and is Iran. We have already seen where all the proxies of Iran are sitting and how much weapons, money, and support from Iran they have. The latest development, which poses some question, is as Saudi Arabia gets snubs from Washington and Biden, as the Democrats think foreign policy is the same like home policy, and therefore the Saudis must be pressed, and the Saudis can't be trusted. That has led the Saudis to retaliate in the same way and not to invite people from there and not to make the contacts bigger than they are. And in spite of, quite sure, they have always been one of the best friends of the United States and the best partners, and they know that, and they should like this to happen again, but under the Biden administration, it's impossible. Therefore, they made this trial to bring more pressure upon Iran via China. And so we have this very curious situation that the Western allies are going to China to get help against Iran. Of course, it's not help against Iran, but it is the trial to get some pressure on Iran not to do all they can to attack Saudi oil and other institutions again via Yemen or via other methods. And I think that's a very bad situation. Of course, the EU doesn't anything about that because why shouldn't they be near to Biden as they were near to Obama in the Middle East policy? And so this situation doesn't become better. In the long run, I think Israel and the states who are together in the Abraham Accords, as well as Saudi Arabia, still want to be the counterpower against Iran, and they don't want Iran to get a nuclear bomb, quite clear. That's only the question what, if they get it or not, that's the question of what Israel does. And nobody else will do anything about it, and not the EU. And so I think that's one point we should stress, but I don't think we'll have many success in this, as the ideologies are very strong and dense. In the long run, I think the going back of the EU and the United States from the Middle East is one of the worst things they can do, and that will give us something to think a little later. At the moment, I would say our policies must be to stress the importance of the Middle East, the importance of the Abraham Accords, and the importance of having good allies there. And so the Saudis are good allies, have always been good allies. Of course, all countries there in the Middle East have different cultures, different political structures, and so on. We have to live with it. We can't reform every country who wants to be an ally of ours. So that's a difficulty, but that's the usual difficulty in foreign policies, and we can't change it. So you see, my outlook is not very optimistic. It's not very pessimistic. You have to deal with the realities. On the other side, the Iranian regime will go down. It's the question when. As it was a question with the GDR for Germany, when would this regime go down? It was clear they couldn't keep themselves. And so I think the Iranian dictatorship will go down. Most of the people, the majority of the people in Iran wants it to go down. But of course, we saw the difficulties from the different parts of people in Iran, the difficulties to work together, and the difficulties, what will happen then. Nobody can say that. I'm optimistic on the ground of my heart, and I would say Iran has the best chance of becoming a democratic republic after this religious dictatorship has been thrown away. But who knows, a military dictatorship could be possible in spite of all of these hopes. So nobody can say what happens. The only thing what will strike back onto the European policy is that they don't help the resistance in the way they should have done, and they don't still do it, and they don't act against Iran in the field of foreign policy, going against the proxies of Iran. That's what the EU does not, and that will be brought against the EU policy of today, and some people won't forget it. And so we should remember the EU that their position is not bearable, looking at all the proxies of Iran and looking at Hezbollah, for example, where an international criminal procedure of many countries against Hezbollah could reduce their wealth and their criminality. Thank you very much.